today sees the update to RaceRoom Racing experience, which features a whole bunch of new features. In fact, Sector 3 have literally just gone completely bananas, and yet again the simulator has been transformed. But this video isn't about that. This video is about one of the latest cars to be added to RaceRoom Racing experience, and it's one of my favourite cars, and you can see on the screen which car it is. It's the KTM X-Bow. Of course, you might be mistaken in thinking that it's the bog standard X-Bow, but no, it's not. It's the RR version, which most notably features greater downforce. Basically, they've added a ridiculous flat bottom to the car, improved the diffuser, the rear diffuser. I think they've even added skirting to it as well to obviously increase the suction effect. So essentially what you get is the bananas X-Bow with the vehicle dynamics you'll expect from the car that's in, I think Assetto Corsa is the only other sim that I'm aware of that has a X-Bow in it. But you get the bananas car dynamics in that it's quite a grippy car at low speed, but then also has no qualms about going sideways, combined with what you'd expect from more of a racy car in that it tends to actually stick to the road at higher speeds, and it's all round just tighter. And well, with it now being in RaceRoom, we can put that to the test, and I have to say it really is good. Really, really good. Now this is I'm a little bit biased because again this is one of my top pick cars. It's sort of you know, I love my KTMs, I love X-Bows, I love these sort of a car that's that gives you the choice basically. I mean, any of you that watch the videos know this already, but a car that gives you a little bit too much power that you can play with, a little bit low on the grip, but also gives you the choice between being delicate like a nice little flower in a field in the summer breeze, versus being a farmer that's accidentally dropped a hay bale on the accelerator of his tractor and is currently running over all the cows. I like cars that give you the choice between those two spectrums at any point in time, and well, the X-Bow is one of them, and this RR version of the X-Bow magnifies what the standard version of the car can do. So it just gets better. The X-Bow has been improved. Thank you KTM, and thank you Sector 3 for putting it in the sim. Now what really makes this car actually even more exciting is it goes hand in hand with the recent updates to RaceRoom, in that Sector 3 have massively improved the character. I believe it's mostly from their tyre model updates, but just the overall character of the vehicles, the newer vehicles, is really nice. They have that real tight feeling to them that you sort of expect. Well, you tend to get more in R Factor 2, Automobilist, and even iRacing to some extent, that sort of tight feeling. But then it's also got that playable ply to it, that more on the Assetto Corsa side. And for whatever reason, however Sector 3 set it up, the new cars really get this balance in a way that I think will appeal to a really broad selection of sim racers. And I think one of the things that RaceRoom has always done really well is in terms of an immersive experience, the sounds, the overall graphics, the presentation, the tracks, everything. It really draws you into the game, aside from the lack of virtual reality, but they are working on that, so they've said in the latest stream, which will be really good. But the overall immersive experience is awesome. And again, this car, because it's such a raw car and dynamic car, it just goes hand in hand to produce something that's quite unique, I think. In particular, I found the force feedback to be especially good with this. Not only do you get a feel for your basic sort of understeer grip, how much grip your car's got, the shifting of the mass of the vehicle, but also some of the more artificial things like just the rumble strip effect and just the sort of jostling and bumping of the wheel. Even on my trusty T300, although at times it might be a little bit over the top, and sometimes it might mask some of the more subtle, less sort of canned effects, it again all just comes together to make something really immersive. Now it is worth saying, all the force feedback options are there, so you can tweak things so that you reduce stuff like the rumble strip or engine vibrations, and some of the sort of superfluous effects you can just turn them off if you want a more pure informative force feedback. And to be honest, if I was doing more competitive racing online or not just playing it for the raw immersion, I'd probably turn some of those settings down. At the moment I've got a kind of in-between balance between the two because I tend to play RaceRoom in a more casual way, though again that might be changing soon, and we'll cover that in another video. All in all though, I think the force feedback is just spot on. So other than the handling, which is just amazing, and the force feedback, which is really good, the graphics, I really like how RaceRoom looks, its tracks and everything, but with this car in particular, I can't spot anything wrong with the car models. It's a crossbow. Particularly what you do notice actually is when you're driving behind the other vehicles, there's a nice little arrow on the right hand side of the vehicles. You can see it approaching this car here, just to the left of the number. The arrow lets you know exactly where to place your car to rear end other vehicles. I think it's actually the arrow for it's the tow point of the vehicle for when drivers inevitably beach their vehicles. But you see all the just little all the different car skins. And just all the little subtle bits that, again, whilst you're bombing through a race and you've got loads of vehicles around you, it's sort of, there's so much stuff going on that it, again, draws you into the game and visually ends up being pretty spectacular. Now, I think the car skins have been picked from skins that are found in or liveries that have been found in the Crossbow Battle, which is a support series race for DTM. I've never watched it myself. I just got this from Googling on the internet. The only other time I've really seen crossbows actually being raced is in Race of Champions, where they take it around that sort of mini 1v1 track. But the car skins all look awesome, so you can't really complain. And not interestingly, there's also a GT4 KTM crossbow. This essentially, from what I understand, is similar to the race spec KTM, only it's got a roof on it. Probably has some other changes to it. Probably has some traction control and other assists for super wealthy people to be able to drive it without worrying about crashing too much. But so that's the graphics. The sound, well, what can we say? Sound is Sector 3. Again, it's the immersive quality of the sound. Suspension compressor noises, the rumble strips, the dirt sort of flicking off the tyres sound. The actual engine sounds really raw. It literally sounds like it's screaming when you go to too high RPMs and don't shift properly, or if you're heel and toe a bit too aggressively. You can almost feel the pain of the engine crying under the fact that you're driving it terribly. But it all goes in to make such a fantastically enjoyable car to drive. And well, that pretty much covers the overall parts of the vehicle. But before we finish this video, I wanted to go to another track at a different time of day, just to show you how dynamic the lighting is. It's not real-time dynamic, there's just different times of day, morning, midday and evening essentially, that you can pick in RaceRoom. But the actual different times of day are really nicely done in RaceRoom, and again, visually just really striking, and again, really immerses you in the game. Also, I think worth mentioning is the AI in RaceRoom. Since the update, there's been quite a large improvement in the AI. I think they're a little bit more aggressive, and they're also quite a bit faster. Now, the AI, like all AI in all games, they still have the general AI problems in that if it's a follow-through corner, they will brake too much. At the start of a race, they get a little bit, they slow down a bit and get a bit confused at times. So mind you, if you had 30, 40 cars in a real race with real people, I'm sure there'd be ambulances picking up body parts, because, I've never had an online race with more than 25 cars that didn't have some kind of T1 incident. But in general, the AI has, all in all, massively improved. When I put it on 120%, I honestly found it really hard to keep up with them, and embarrassingly so, they sort of just drove away from me. Meaning that I obviously need to practice how to drive this car faster. It'd be interesting to see actually, with more practice, how the 120% AI compare to a practice driver. I found on 100%, what tended to happen was for the first lap, you'll absolutely rinse sort of 80-90% of the grid, and by the time you get to about lap 3 or 4, things have spread out and you end up with a more realistic situation, and you end up with like nice little overtakes and movements from the AI, a couple of mistakes. Really, I think it's some of the better AI out there. Now, it's not perfect, as I say, they do tend to bunch up in certain situations and at the start of the race, The only real big fault I'd give the AI is maybe 120%. They might be cheating in some respects. I'm not sure yet, not fully tested it. It's just that they've damaged my ego and I'm just bitter about it. But one thing that does happen is if you rear end cars, I'm not sure if this is just AI or multiplayer as well, but if you rear end cars at any rate of speed, you tend to just get into a sort of flat spin with your vehicle, and it can be really frustrating. Now obviously I'm sure you can make the argument that you shouldn't be rear-ending cars, and more so online, but with AI, because AI occasionally do brake more than you'd be expecting, especially when you start putting the AI on 100% or lower, it's going to increase the frequency that you might accidentally rear end them, and the frequency that you end up then just getting into a sort of dull, unrecoverable spin. But other than that little caveat, probably from the games I've played recently on in single player, I think this has got some of the best or most enjoyable AI to race against. So Sector 3 have done an absolutely fantastic job all round. The KTM X-Bow, available tonight when the patch gets put out. As a disclaimer, obviously to get access to this before the patch is out, I've got access to the beta, and RaceRoom have given me access to content, so I haven't had to pay for anything. So that's probably completely biased me. I'm a shill. I've been shilled. Been paid off by the game. No cash has been exchanged, but we've been shilled off. So you can ignore everything in this video, but I really enjoy this car, and especially I hope a lot of people get it, because I want to just drive online with people when the patch comes out. So we'll see how it goes. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, like the video, and also there'll be links on the screen that you can click on. Until the next video, and the next video will be about the other features that have been added to RaceRoom. Until the next one, thanks for watching and goodbye.